Hello, you're live here with Coach Chris at the top of a mountain. It's good to be with you again. Great to continue on this series, this relationship series that we're doing, that leadership is relationship. And one of the places that I love to go to is just up a mountain. So here we are, here's the view, there's the beach. Other place I love to go to when you just need to be alone. It's really good. But today what I want to do is I want to share with you the number one tip ever. The number one tip that any coach, anytime, anywhere could ever give you with your leadership and with your relationships. Now sometimes this tip gets overlooked. In fact, I think it gets overlooked more than it gets used. And that's not terribly helpful, because if you don't use this tip, then there's going to be some quite severe consequences for your relationships and your leadership. I've actually shared this tip with a number of people, and they've actually physically looked different after they've applied this tip, which is crazy. I know that sounds a bit weird, but I'm telling you, like, that's actually what happens. And so I'm going to share that tip with you really shortly. That's all coming up. But first, what I want to do is just tell you why I'm up a mountain and why I'm here, and the connection between that and relationship. You see, one of the key things about relationship is that I love to come here when I'm alone. This is my alone space. This is just time by me, time with me, whether it's on the beach or on the mountain. And see, that's a really important element to relationship. Who you are, like what you bring to your relationship, what's the sense of value that you have in yourself. And so primarily as a coach, I probably call myself a heart coach or a spirit life coach, or I don't know, you choose the title after listening to this, but I really care about the heart issues. So the things that you think about yourself and you have them deep in your heart, that's really important to me, and that's the kind of stuff I like to help people work through, and that's the stuff I want to talk about today and make this connection between the number one tip ever and being alone on a mountain. So I want to ask you, what's the real belief that you have inside of yourself about who you are, about what's your value? What's your real belief system say about that? And I think you'll find that if you spend a bit of time reflecting about that, you'll probably come up with some really interesting answers. And I know it's starting to rain a bit here. That's the joy of Facebook Live. I think one of the cool things about when you have to ask that question and see is that you start to realize that what you believe actually impacts all of your relationships. And so if you are believing that you actually don't have very much value, then you actually take that into all of your relationships. And so what you set up here is what we call a self-fulfilling prophecy. So g'day Ali, how are you? And so when you set up a self-fulfilling prophecy, this means that you start acting out and playing out the very belief system that you're carrying. So if you have a really low sense of value inside of your heart, which is the place we're talking about today, then the quality of your relationships is going to be the quality of your belief. So if you have a low value in yourself, that's the kind of value that you're going to put into relationships, and that's the kind of value that you're going to be expecting from other people. And the reason that our level of value inside of ourselves changes a lot is because of all of the what I call conditional love experiences that you have had. And so all of the times that you haven't actually received everything that you've needed, this has actually set the quality, the quantity, the belief system about your real value inside of your heart. And so this is really the source of all of your devalue. And it's also the source of all of your great value. And so what's really interesting is when you look at it from a leadership perspective, and you're a leader in the family, in your business, at work, wherever it is, you're looking after kids, you're looking after adults, you're building people up, you're getting people to do things, you're going to take that sense of value that you have of yourself into that place. Now, either you have to fake it till you make it, or you get to be really authentic. Now, you can only fake it for so long, and after a while it gets a little bit taxing, faking this lie that you actually believe and you think you're good in yourself. And so what I want to do today is to give you this number one tip to just help you move along on the journey that you need to go along on to increase the quality of your leadership, because it's all really based on what you think about yourself. And I want to take a second just to speak about two cultures, and I call these two cultures the give culture and the get culture. And so you've experienced these two cultures in your life, the give culture and the get culture. Hey Alicia, how are you? This give culture is the kind of culture when you're around people who are in the give culture and their heart works out of a give culture, they're going to be giving you what you need. Now hopefully this is your experience growing up from your parents, from your family, and if it's not, then you've probably been around people and their culture is a get culture. And people who live in a get culture, they actually come to you looking at you as a potential, what can I get from you person? And so they operate out of this get culture. They've come to the relationship to see what they can get. G'day Steph, how are you? So if you are around people that are in a get culture, then the chances of you growing in your sense of value about yourself is really limited, because they're actually going to be taking that value from you. And if you're around people who understand the give culture, then they're going to be giving value to you. They're going to be telling you what you're great at, what you're good. They're going to be building you up. They're going to be honoring you. You're going to be experiencing this respect and this development. And this actually changes the whole culture of our heart. Now, when we get strong enough in that, then we can be the kind of people that can actually be givers ourselves. And so when you're around people in give culture, you can actually grow to be a giver. And so now you understand a little bit about those two cultures, then I want to take you back to where we started, and I want to tell you this number one tip, this number one relationship tip or leadership, best coach tip you could ever get. So this is Coach Chris from Lighthouse Leadership, for those of you who are just joining, just giving you coach tips on the top of a mountain. So my two favourite places to hang out by myself are either down there at the beach or up here at the mountain. The reason I'm by myself is because we're talking about ourselves today and what we bring to a relationship for our leadership. And I want to give you the number one tip, the best tip ever for quality leadership, because leadership is relationship. And that quality tip, are you ready? Drum roll, it's this. And like I said before, it's often overlooked, it's often not really used. And that tip is forgiveness. There it is, super tip. Wow, it doesn't seem like very much now that I've actually said it. But if you start to understand the depth of how forgiveness actually works and you're actually able to start applying it, then you can actually move from a get culture to a give culture. And if you want quality leadership around you and in the people that you're bringing up, then you need to teach them how to be give people, not get people. And the key to that is forgiveness. Now I'm going to lead you through a couple of things for you to think about right now. And so I'm going to invite you to think about the kind of people that you've experienced in your life that have caused you some problems, and you actually need to spend some time forgiving them. Now, forgiveness isn't necessarily a once all, that's it, it's all over. Forgiveness is a process. Most important thing to say at the start. And so it sometimes takes time for full forgiveness to be given. I know I'm still working through some forgiveness with some people that hurt me. And, you know, I can say to myself, oh, I forgive them. You know, what they did wasn't really kind. But you know what? I actually got really hurt. And it takes a little while for that hurt to go. And it takes a little while for me to be in a position where I can be around that person again and I'm not sitting in any bitterness or whatever. And so forgiveness is a process. But it's really important to start that process, because if you don't start that process, then what's going to happen is you're going to be staying in a get culture. You're going to need to get something from someone. G'day Karen, how are you? Hello to all of you who are joining on. If you're in a get culture, it means that there's something inside you that you don't feel is really valuable, and so you have to go and get it from somebody else. And so anytime that you're in a place of unforgiveness, then you are probably going to be operating in a get culture. If you're in a give culture, then you've probably done a lot of your forgiveness work that you need to do. And as a coach, I really care about us doing the hard work, doing the work that's painful, because you've got to go through the pain to get to a place where you're operating at your best. And that's what coaches are all about, helping you to optimize your performance. And in leadership, if you're walking around the workplace and you have all of this unforgiveness with people, then that unforgiveness is going to impact everything that you're doing. So let's just start with this little process of forgiveness now. So what I want you to do is to think about somebody who you hold something against. It probably won't take too long. Hey, somebody who's done something to you that wasn't so nice, wasn't so kind, rain's coming in again, gotta love Facebook Live on top of a mountain. Yeah, so what I want you to do is, this little phrase I like to use can be really helpful. I'm going to teach it to you and then you can practice it. So the phrase goes like this: I choose to forgive. That's good, saying it after me. And then you can put in the person's name. I choose to forgive whoever it is. Son, daughter, husband, wife, work colleague, boss, whoever it is. Just going to chuck on a little bit of a hoodie here. Just hopefully you guys can still hear and see all right. Just going to back it in a little bit here so we can get out of the rain. And isn't that a little bit like what unforgiveness is like? It just pours out all over you everywhere. Just taking the situation into a coaching opportunity there. So I choose to forgive whoever it is. I choose to forgive whoever it is. And then whatever that thing is, that point of offense, then you can say, I choose to forgive them for whatever it was. I choose to forgive them for this. And we actually practice this with our kids at home. And so when our kids have a fight, then one of them has to come up to the other one and say, oh, I really felt bad because you do this. We do an I statement. I'm going to share that with you another time. And then the other one says, I forgive you for doing this. And so it's just super healing, and it's amazing. The kids can go back and play straight after they've done it, because forgiveness brings freedom. And so in their personal leadership, as they're leading each other in what they're doing, everything just gets better. And so I'm going to get you to practice that during the week. I'm going to get back in touch with you next week. So I choose to forgive whoever it is for whatever it is. And hopefully you can put that into practice, and we'll see how you go. So this is Coach Chris signing off from Lighthouse Leadership Psychology and Training. This is our relationship series. Relationship is leadership, and leadership is relationship. And I hope you guys have a great week, and we'll be in touch soon. See you now.